Hello my lovelies, and welcome to the Spirit Tarot and Healing Arts YouTube channel. If you are new, welcome back. If you are a returning viewer, I'm Rin, and today's video is on what if you want to learn divination but tarot is just not your thing. First, we're going to do a quick little bit of a catch up. This is not going to be a super long video. Just to kind of catch everybody up as to what has been going on with me if you are watching this anywhere around the time that it's actually being recorded. So I have been sick lately. What has gone on is October 30th, I woke up with an earache. It kind of went away and then it came back really bad in the evening, to the point that I made the remark to my husband that, like, this is almost ER level pain. But I was trying to just push through it. I kind of thought that maybe it was coming from my degenerative disc, because I've had it happen before where when that acts up, like my ear and that part of my face will go numb. This wasn't numbness, it was pain, but I kind of wanted to brush it off as that. So anyhow, I then on Halloween wound up going to the ER, and they were like, yeah, you've got an ear infection. Here's an oral antibiotic. If the pain isn't better in 48 hours, come back to the ER. Well, I waited to 48 hours and the pain was not better. Now, when I was in the ER on Halloween, the only thing they could see was that the eardrum was a little irritated and swollen, but there wasn't anything in the ear, and the ear canal was fine. So when I went back then on the Thursday, the 2nd of November, the canal was swollen and there was some discharge in there, and the ER doctor debated on admitting me to the hospital, because I do have basically type 1 diabetes. It's actually called LADA, which is late onset type 1 diabetes. And because of that, there was concern about an ear infection spreading to the bone, and they kind of were on the fence. So he asked if I would be willing to wait for him to see if he could get one of the ENTs on the phone, because there were no ENTs available to come in that day, but he wanted to see if he could get one on the phone and sort of consult by phone. So the ENT had him prescribe me these ear drops, and the ear drops were another type of antibiotic with a steroid combined in them, and to continue the oral antibiotic as well, and then to call the ENT to follow up to be seen in office. Well, then we get to the 13th of November. I go in for my actual ENT appointment because that was the earliest they could get me in. Turns out that I was misdiagnosed in the ER. It was not a bacterial ear infection. It was actually a fungal ear infection. And the ENT thinks what happened is, I do live in the Pacific Northwest. There's tons and tons of mold here. He thinks what happened is because I use earbuds a lot, because I do a lot of listening to audiobooks and music and YouTube, and I always have earbuds in. He thinks that I got maybe a mold spore on my ear, and this is why I haven't been recording super long videos, because I sound really weird to me, and so that makes it really hard for me to record audio. But anyhow, he thinks I got a mold spore in there, and then because I use the earbuds all the time, and because I have LADA, he thinks that that's what kicked off the fungal infection. So he had to suction out my ear, and then he had to pack it with this antifungal cream. And so even though he's checked, there's no nerve damage, my hearing will completely come back. And I did, between when he suctioned it out, because I actually had to go to the doctor twice that day, between when he suctioned it out and when I went back for him to pack the cream in the ear, my hearing was actually starting to return. But then, unfortunately, we had to pack the ear with cream, which means I cannot hear out of that ear again. I have to go in this Friday. He's going to suction all of the cream and everything out, see what the state of the infection is. We're hoping that at that point we can just let the ear continue to heal on its own, but we may have to repack it with the medicine and go another week like that. So I have some longer, in-depth, meaty videos planned, but I'm not comfortable recording them just yet because it is so odd to me how I sound right now because I can't hear out of this ear. So I was thinking about what video I wanted to do for today. I wanted something that would be meaningful but yet not too long. And I had heard somebody in a YouTube video that I was listening to talking about how tarot is just kind of the default divination method. It seems to be the predominant divination method in the tarot community. It's very ubiquitous. It does seem to be the most popular or the most used. But I was thinking about it and I was like, not everybody is meant to read tarot. Tarot is not meant to be read by everyone. It is, it is a great tool. Obviously, I love tarot. I encourage people to at least give it a try if they're interested in divination. But I also understand that it is not for everyone. And there can be a lot of reasons for that. For one, maybe somebody just doesn't resonate with it. For another, it takes a lot of study. I have enough hours and enough years into tarot that I can officially label myself as a tarot expert, and yet I am still a tarot student. If you are real and honest and genuine about working with tarot, you will be a student from the day you pick up your first tarot deck until the day you die or decide to stop reading tarot. If you're real about it, if you're really doing it, you are always a student. And so there's a lot there. There are a lot of meanings for all of the cards. Different decks can have different meanings for the cards. Individuals can have different meanings for the cards. And honestly, if you would try to compile all of the different meanings that people associate with certain cards, that would be quite a hefty list. And back in the day when I was starting, there were also schools of thought where not only did you have to memorize the meanings for an individual card, you had to memorize the upright, the reversed, and then you also had to memorize every single possible card combination. And that is just wild because that system just for me is not workable. I know the meanings of all the cards. I don't read reversed cards in the traditional sense, but I kind of have a way for handling that. And as far as card pairings go, that depends on the context of how they come up in the reading. Memorizing somebody else's meanings for every possible card pairing just doesn't work for me. All of that to say that I completely understand why someone might be overwhelmed or just not into learning tarot. Maybe for me, that is what I do. That is my job. And so it makes sense that I would devote all that time, energy, and money into learning and working with tarot. If it's something that you just want to do as part of your personal practice, tarot might not be the right move for you. That might require too much time and practice to really get that, because there is a lot of nuance to tarot and how tarot was read and interpreted when I started reading in the 90s and how tarot is read and interpreted today has changed a lot. And if you're going to use tarot, then you've got to keep up with the changes. Even if you don't necessarily adopt them, you've got to keep up with what's going on. The good news is that if tarot is not your thing for whatever reason, and if you're not into tarot, whatever your reasoning is for not being into it is valid. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing, and that is okay. Don't let anyone make you think that you have to have a tarot practice because you're spiritual or witchy or anything like that. If tarot is not your thing, if it doesn't gel with you, if it doesn't resonate with you, if you don't have the time to dedicate to it, all of that is okay. But I wanted to do a video where I just quickly highlight some alternatives that are out there to tarot if you want to have a divination practice, but tarot just isn't it for you. Now, this video is not a be-all, end-all. There are other forms of divination out there. These are just ones that I do and or have used. So I took some pictures of some of my other divination tools And I thought we would just talk about them real quick because some people only know about tarot, or maybe they know about tarot and one or two other things. And I just wanted to present some options, which, if you do read tarot, you can read these too, as I do. Or if you're not into tarot, these are some things that you could try and explore to see if they work for you. First up, there are other forms of cartomancy besides tarot. If you don't resonate with tarot, that doesn't mean that you might not resonate with another form of cartomancy. So we have in this picture, I've got the Audacity deck, which is an oracle deck. We've got the Lenormand. We've got the Kipper. Oracle decks are very much on the spiritual side. Lenormand, Kipper, the Hungarian Szigany Kártya, Gypsy Witch cards, they are all more on the fortune-telling side of things. Not that you can't ask and answer spiritual questions with them, but you've got to take the context of the time when these decks were created to kind of get a feel for how they were intended to work and how they were intended to be used. They are quite different than tarot cards. So you're not going to see any of the cards that you normally see in tarot. They are not used the same way. In tarot, we often see a push for all love and light and positive, and there are no negative cards. And, I agree in the tarot, it's all a matter of context as to whether or not a card or an energy is positive or negative or challenging is how I usually refer to it. But these decks do have positive and negative cards. I touched very briefly on the history of Lenormand in my History of Tarot video, but I also am thinking about doing videos in the future. I might do one where I do the Lenormand and Kipper together, talk about their history and how those two systems are similar and different, just because I think that would go well together. I am definitely at some point in time going to do a history of the Gypsy Witch fortune-telling cards because I'm not going to name any names in this video because I don't want sued, but a certain publishing company decided to do some of the, well, let's just call it fuckery, that they are known for doing, and they tried to rewrite the history of the Gypsy Witch fortune-telling deck. So I really do want to do a history of that deck and a look at that deck. And then we have the Szigany Kártya also, which is... it's similar to those, but yet very different. I would say of the ones there that I listed, it's closest to the Kipper, but it is not the same as the Kipper. The Gypsy Witch fortune-telling cards uses the same first 36 symbols as Lenormand, but then it has the expanded. But I don't want to do too much information and overwhelm you in this video. And then we have playing cards. Now, there are a bunch of different ways to read playing cards. This video is supposed to be alternatives to tarot. You can read playing cards like tarot. I have a video telling you how to do that. But if you're watching this video, then you're probably looking for something different than tarot. I do have a playlist here on the YouTube channel, which is a whole class where I teach you how to do a French method. It's a vintage historical French method for reading playing cards. It has all of the historical French meanings for the cards and gives you the spreads in that were traditional to that particular system. There are other systems out there. So a lot of people will be like, oh, I read playing cards. That really doesn't tell you a lot. Which system do you use for reading playing cards? Because the different systems are very distinctly different. Some systems of reading playing cards only use 32 cards out of the deck. Some only use 36 cards out of the deck, and some use all 52 cards out of a deck of playing cards. It depends on what system as to how many cards you're using, what they mean, and how you lay the cards out. In the past, I have taught French, German, Hungarian, and Russian methods for playing card divination. I have also studied additional, at least 4 other playing card systems that I can think of just off the top of my head. I do not use most of them in readings. I have read the French method professionally, but I don't usually because I don't find a lot of market for people looking for the French readings. So I just haven't kind of kept up with that. And I do read the Hungarian method professionally, but that's partially because I have Hungarian ancestry. That's also why I read with the Scrying Kartya, just because I have a personal connection to those methods. But those methods are out there. If you guys are interested in more of them, depending on what it is and how in-depth you want me to get, I either might offer classes in them, or I might do some videos here on the YouTube channel, just depending on what is wanted. But a great starting place if you want to learn a method of playing card divination that is completely separate from tarot. I do have that free class here on the YouTube channel, all in one playlist, where you can learn the vintage French method. Next up, we have scrying, and there are a lot of different ways to do scrying. I have my crystal ball here in the video for you to see. You can see that it's in my workspace in front of my laptop, but you can scry with crystal balls. You can use water, fire, clouds, smoke, and scrying mirrors. I wish that I still had, but I do not. When we moved from Pennsylvania to Washington State, unfortunately, the scrying mirror that I had made was accidentally left behind, and so it is gone forever. It's something that I would use once in a while, but not all the time. So I just have not gotten around to making a new one. At some point, when I find the right vessel, if you will, for making a new scrying mirror, I will probably do a video, because when I made that scrying mirror, I did a video on my old YouTube channel that unfortunately got corrupted and all of that, and I couldn't get back into it because of an issue with my email. You guys know, if you followed me for a while, you know I had to restart the YouTube channel here on YouTube. But if I find the right materials and feel inspired to make a new scrying mirror, I will make a video of it to teach you how you can make a scrying mirror of your own. Obviously, this video is just presenting some alternatives. It's not teaching you how to scry, but these are some different options for scrying, and it is a valid alternative to tarot cards. Next up, we have pendulums. Pendulums are amazing. You can use them on their own. You can use them with a pendulum board like I have here. If the Etsy shop that I got my pendulum board is still open, I will try to remember to link that shop in the description box. But I think the last time I looked at that shop, they were like permanently yet not permanently on vacation. But if I'll try to check them out, and if they are open again, I will try to remember to link that down below, because I absolutely love this pendulum board. It is resin. I know there are some people who prefer wood pendulum boards. Hey, whatever works for you, it's all good. But I like this one because it is durable. It's so pretty. This one is more of like a travel size. Like, I keep it in a little pouch, and I honestly could like toss this in my purse with my pendulum if I want to have something with me when I'm traveling or out somewhere, but I don't want to try to jam a tarot deck or something like that into my purse, because honestly my current purse is very small. So the pendulum board and pendulum is better for me for travel right now than trying to jam a deck into that purse. But pendulums and pendulum boards. The pendulum in this picture is my fluorite pendulum. I actually kind of, if you will, made this. The fluorite itself, I got at a craft store. And then I just got some black cord and made the string for it. And wham bam, thank you ma'am, I had a pendulum. And I really love it. It's a great pendulum, and I happen to be very fond of fluorite, so worked for me. I have a couple other pendulums as well. One is Rainbow Obsidian. I like to use that one for spirit work. This one is my workhorse, all-purpose pendulum, and then I have another pendulum that has aquamarine and copper, and that is my pendulum for healing work. So there's a lot of different types of pendulum boards you can get. If you want a pendulum board, there's a lot of different kinds of pendulums you can get. You can use a necklace for a pendulum. As long as it's got a pretty good weight to it, you could use that, so you don't even necessarily have to buy anything. And if you are interested in pendulum work, but you don't want to go out and buy a pendulum board or anything like that, I do have a PDF available on my website, which I will link down below, completely free to download, and it is a PDF full of different pendulum mats that you can use. There's even one in there that's customizable. You can print it off and then you can put in whatever you want on that particular pendulum mat. So I'll make sure I link that down below so that if you want to grab that, you can. Again, that's a freebie on my website. Then we have one of my loves, charm casting. I am all about charm casting. I absolutely love it. I have taught charm casting in the past. When I taught all the different forms of cartomancy, the playing cards, I also taught charm casting, and that was all on Udemy. Some of you even may remember when I was on Udemy teaching, but the Udemy platform and I did not get along, and so I no longer teach on Udemy. I have been wanting to bring back the charm casting class, but I'm not sure how much interest there is for it. And I'm not sure if, you can get a mentorship with me through my website for charm casting. And you can get one for Pendulums too if you want it. So you can get a one-on-one mentorship with me for these. But I've been thinking about doing a pre-recorded class on charm casting and then offering that for sale over on Etsy. There's certain rules I have to abide by for Etsy to be able to offer a class on Etsy. And because I have to jump through so many hoops, I just don't know if there's enough of a demand to learn charm casting to make it worth jumping through the hoops. But this particular set of charms that you see here is for my Lenormand style charm casting, which the reason why it's called that is if you read Lenormand, there are certain, I call them anchor cards, but if you want to know about somebody's career, then you would look for the anchor. If you want to know about their love life, you would look for the heart. If you want to know about their relationship, or maybe even a business partnership too, you could look at the ring. If you want to know about their health, you look at the tree. And the reason why this is called a charm casting or a Lenormand style charm casting is because it works in the same way. You have certain charms in this set that you look to for certain things. So for me, work would be Mjolnir, and the button represents attachments, and the dime represents finances, the heart represents relationships. So there's different charms that you look to if you want to know about a certain area of somebody's life, which is similar to how you do Lenormand readings, or at least the Lenormand Grand Tableau. But I used to teach that, and then I also teach other forms of charm casting as well. So let me know if there's an interest in that. If there is, then I will look into getting a class together. But like I said, if you want, I can do one-on-one, and I do one-on-one mentorships if that is your preference. The last one that we're going to talk about in this video is using dice for divination. I do have a video here on the channel that teaches you a little bit about dice divination, and then I also have a PDF available for sale in my Etsy shop that gives you instructions for several different types of dice divination. In this particular picture, you can see my bone dice, which are in the little bag. So there's some techniques for using six-sided dice. I have some techniques for using polyhedral dice in that PDF as well. And then there's also astro dice in that PDF. So I have the video. You can go check it out. I'll link it down below. And if it's something that you're interested in learning more about, I do have the PDF over on my Etsy shop. But I absolutely love incorporating dice either into larger readings or doing dice readings on my own. I do offer the astro dice as part of a reading over on my Etsy shop. But right now, I'm not offering dice in any of my other readings. But if you guys are more interested in that, let me know, because I could always add some to the mix. The dice I tend to use more personally than professionally, but that doesn't mean I don't absolutely love using the dice. But then again, I'm a dice goblin. I play D&D. It's not surprising that I would find a way to incorporate that into other areas of my life as well. Oh, I said the dice were last, but they're not. How could I forget tea leaf reading? I love tea leaf reading, also known as tasseomancy. But I do really enjoy that as well. So that's another possibility out there. if you are not interested in tarot, but you happen to like tea. In my personal experience, though, you have to really like tea. It took me a long time to start doing tea leaf readings. I would use the tea leaf reading cards because I just have this thing about the actual, you have to have the tea leaves in your tea when you do the reading. Now, there actually is a way where you can cheat and not have the tea leaves in your cup while you're actually drinking the tea. I don't know. I've seen a method where what you do is you brew the tea in a separate pot that has the little strainer thing. And then what you do is, as you're about to finish the tea, when there's just enough tea left that you would normally swirl the leaves and turn the cup over, then you just take a spoon of the tea leaves out of the infuser and you put them in the bottom of the cup with that little bit of teas left, and then you swirl and dump. I'm not saying that's wrong, okay? The person that showed that, they have great success with that method. That just doesn't feel right to me. For me, I have to have the loose leaf tea in the cup for the entire time that I'm drinking it for me to feel like I get a good read. That is a personal thing. But that is also the thing that kept me from doing tea leaf readings for a long, long time, because I was always drawn to them, but I couldn't get past having to learn how to drink around the tea leaves. I have now pretty much perfected how I drink the cup of tea so that I am not chewing on my cup of tea, if you get what I'm saying. I'm not like getting a bunch of the tea leaves in my mouth. I've learned how to drink the tea so that the tea leaves stay in the cup and I'm not getting them in my mouth. But that took time and practice. But in my opinion, it's worth it if you have the patience to do it. And I do enjoy doing tea leaf readings. There's just something, there's a part of tea leaf reading that it's the aesthetics of it that appeals to me, not just the method. There's a vibe, there's a feel to it that I just really enjoy. So that is an option as well. I don't read coffee grounds, but that can be done too. People used to read the sediment from wine as well. I don't really drink a whole lot of wine, but the wines I've had don't have sediment. So I'm not sure what kind of wine you would need to buy in order to have the sediment at the bottom of your wine glass to do readings with that. But I know that historically that is something that was done. So all possibilities you could check out. Okay, now I'm really done with the different options that I wanted to present to you, but that is kind of the purpose of this video, is to be a starting point to give you some ideas of other avenues you could pursue in divination, whether you're just looking to expand your divination practice beyond tarot, or if you have just found that tarot isn't your thing and you want to do divination, but that's just not it for you. So here's some ideas. Try any and all of them. As I've said, I do have some resources for some of them that you can go and check out to start working with them. Anything that I don't already have existing resources for, but you're interested, let me know. Some of them I would be willing to do resources here on YouTube for them. Some of them I might turn into purchasable PDFs. I might do some pre-recorded classes, or we can always do one-on-one mentorships. Bottom line is, don't be afraid to try new things and to experiment, to allow your curiosity or just an inclination towards something to get you to try it. If it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's no harm in trying. In fact, everything you try, whether you stick with it or not, it helps to enrich you as a person and a practitioner. Hopefully this video has given you some inspiration for your divination practice. Thank you for being here with me. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to suggest different topics from this video for me to do future more in-depth videos on, leave them down in the comments below, because I'm always happy to hear from you. And until I see you again, blessings to you wherever your journey finds you.